Welcome to episode 1 of the MTG Rookie Podcast. We are the MTG Rookies. I am Blake.
I'm Jake.
And today we are going to be talking about why should you start playing Magic in the year of our Lord 2025.
Yeah, great topic for our inaugural episode. We're excited just to be talking Magic with you guys. If you didn't know much about our channel, we really want to try to make this game accessible for beginners. We are, technically beginners somewhat ourselves.
I think we have 3 years of experience between the two of us.
Yeah, and so, we didn't get into the game exactly this year, but me last year, and so we've just kind of been following and getting other friends into the game, and so we wanted to talk through what are some reasons why we think this is a great game to get into right now.
Yeah, obviously we're obsessed with it. We started a whole channel about it, and we wanted to share that with everyone. So we have a couple of points that we want to talk through today. And Jake, why don't you tell us what the first kind of focus point we're looking at is?
Yeah, first of all, the game is extremely accessible today. There's a few online platforms that you can get into, whether that's, I think MTG Online is not one I've played before, but I know others play. Spelltable is another one that's online. You can find friends to play with. We would love to get onto that, start playing with some of you guys. And then last but not least, MTG Arena, which we recommend to nearly everybody who asks, how do I learn the game? How do I get into the game? So what's been your experience with Arena?
Arena is how I originally learned how to play. When I was asking, I had a buddy who played Magic, and I kind of asked him, hey, how do I get started? He recommended Arena. Just download it on my phone. It's completely free to use. It teaches you how to play. It teaches you through the phases, through combat, how to tap for mana, all the basics. And I think honestly, the biggest draw for new players is the fact that it's completely free.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you can play as much as you want. You can build a ton of decks on there. You don't have to put money into anything, which kind of leads into the next point. It really is very budget friendly. I mean, you might hear people talking about it can be a play to win kind of environment, but you can also proxy everything if you really want to. I know Blake and I have made our fair share of proxy decks. You've got a little more experience with that, but
some of my thoughts are like I did this with a Voja deck, for example. I was like, I think this deck's going to do really well. I'm not sure if I want to fully buy it and spend the money because it's going to be an expensive deck. So I was like, I'll proxy it. I'll see how it plays. I'll see how my pod feels about it, and then I'll decide if I want to build it from there. My pod did not end up liking it too much. It was a little too strong, but I spent $8 to print those cards out instead of a few hundred that it would have been to buy them outright. Definitely good for that. But
for sure. There's also actually entire formats dedicated to a budget deck. So you can play it's a format called Pauper, where the entire deck is made up of commons only. And if you're a commander player, you can play Pauper Commander, where your commander can be an uncommon, but the rest of your deck is commons. I think that also introduces some really interesting and fun dynamics in gameplay, because you have to get very creative about the cards that you include in your deck, because they all have to be commons.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know that I would recommend Pauper for a brand new player. Yeah. Just because I do think you have to dive really deep into the deck building, and you have to know a lot of commons and uncommons. You can't just put all the strongest cards in your deck like you can with normal Commander. Yeah. But as relatively more experienced players now, we've talked about diving into Pauper a lot. One thing I didn't actually think about was as we're talking about, okay, how do I get into the game? How do I learn how to build a deck? One of the best tools for that, a couple of platforms online. EDHRec is an incredible site to go to. You look up a card, it'll tell you whether it's a commander or a card in the 99, what goes best with that card, what has the best synergy, kind of if it's a commander, even utility lands and artifacts and things that maybe should pop up in your deck, or what people are building into that. Right.
The other platform are things like Archidekt and Moxfield, and you can go and look up a whole deck so that you don't really even have to go and deck build yourself. If it's your first one, you can find a commander or an archetype that you're interested in and just look that up on one of those platforms, find a deck list, You could even find a budget version of that deck list and buy that for $50 or less, or print it off yourself. So there's a ton of ways that you can just take your first step in, just kind of dip your toes into the pool of Magic the Gathering. And then last but not least, I feel like your LGS. Like there are tons, at least I know our local game store has learn to play nights where they'll take time to teach you, and through even just the basics. A lot of pre-releases we've gone to have done that as well. They want to take time to teach the game because they know that new players are coming in every day.
Right. So. Yeah. When I first started playing Magic, I didn't have a lot of friends that played, and my really only way to play was either Magic Arena or MTG Arena or the LGS. Yeah. So the first kind of couple of decks I built, I took it to the LGS. Everybody was super welcoming. Answered all my questions, because as a new player, you're going to have a lot of questions. I never sat down with a pod that made me feel dumb, made me feel annoying for asking these questions. And now, I'm not going to say that's every LGS, but I would say that's the majority. I mean, I haven't run into a rude or just super annoying player at an LGS. And I think that's the... I don't know, what's the word?
I feel like it's a forgiving environment. Yeah. Like it's a welcoming atmosphere for the most part. You're going to get a wide variety of competitiveness at your LGS, but
for sure,
you bounce around, you talk to folks, you just communicate, and I feel like you'll find some people who would be willing to walk you through the basics, especially somebody on staff.
Absolutely. Even us, the whole reason we started this channel, we love teaching people how to play. And I would honestly say that is a common characteristic of Magic players. They love teaching others.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, if you're a current player, definitely reach out to your friends who are on the cusp. That was me, and Blake was just like, hey, I play this game. Do you want to try it out? And I realized afterward, I was just... a small step away from this, like playing strategy games, other board games, video games that I was interested in, and even just like some fairly complex card games. And so this was a natural step for me. And so just somebody who knew me was able to say, hey, would you be interested in learning this game? And it just took, one night of playing it, and that was it.
Yeah. So that's what I would encourage other players. If you've been playing for a while, other people you play board games with, just your friends, invite them in, say, hey, this is a thing I really love to do. This is a game I love to play, and I'd love to teach you how. See if that's something you would want to, jump in as well with me. But yeah, that's kind of our first. It's a very accessible game, dollar-wise and learning-wise. You can play for basically free if you want to. You can spend as much money as you want. A lot of really, really, really good resources for learning the game as well.
For sure.
Next kind of point we have here, Magic is an ever-evolving game. This game has been around for 3 decades now at this point. Yeah. I feel like this is a game where it is literally impossible to get bored of.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I feel like there's something kind of in this game for everyone. Like there's a spectrum of competitiveness where there's casual players and just like, hey, I'm going to build a deck full of horses. And then there's, at the CEDH level, which is competitive EDH, I'm going to build something that like I'm building to win. For the highest win percentage, and I'm going to make sure that my opponents don't even have a chance when they get to the table. And so throughout that, you can find a group of people that want to play the same way that you play. Mm-hmm. It's also challenging. It's creative. There's a lot of different ways to play the game, and they're coming out with new mechanics all the time. Mm-hmm. It's fun. It's silly. There's a ton of different unsets comes to mind as something like kind of weird.
Thinking about, the last time I checked, I want to say there's probably close to 30,000 unique cards in the game now. So there's a way to go with everything. Like we've talked about Pauper. It could be competitive, but it's also kind of hard to deck build around commons, I would imagine. But on the other side, you can just like, hey, I love horses. I love dogs. I love goblins. I want to build a deck around that. It doesn't have to be the best, but this is what I'm interested in. I'm going to have fun with this. and you can make a full deck around it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's fun is that really anything can be good. Sometimes it doesn't really work out. Like one time I tried to build a rats deck, and I just didn't have the right cards necessarily for it. But I also just found that I didn't really enjoy playing rats. I thought it would be funny, but I just didn't find it super fun. And so you can build, you can, break it down and rebuild to something else. It's very flexible. You can express yourself really in a ton of different ways within deck building.
So
like one of the decks that you want to talk about your Gates deck for a second. I mean, that's a little silly. But.
So I one of the new commanders from Final Fantasy, the Wandering Minstrel. He has lands come in untapped. I didn't really know how to build this. I just thought, it's cool. Lands are untapped and a lot of landfall stuff. But my win con, the literal only way I've won with this deck is by getting all of the 10 gates out. I can't remember the specific card that is the land that makes you win if you have enough gates. We'll throw it up on the screen. But that's the only way I've won with
Maze's
this deck.
End. I think
that is it. Yeah, Maze's End. But it's just silly. I win because I have certain lands on the battlefield, which is not a win con I have in any other decks.
Yeah, my Iron Man deck, which I saw this from somebody else. I would give credit if I remember who it was, but it wasn't my idea. But the Fallout bobbleheads fit nicely into that deck because it's an artifacts deck, and so my little mini game is to get all 6, I think, or 7 bobbleheads out onto the playing field because they get better the more that you have. And so that's just a fun little silly thing. I'm not exactly playing to win with that deck. It's still pretty good and it still wins occasionally, but I'm happy to go after that goal just because that's the way that I wanted to build it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So that, that's kind of our third topic that we've been talking about. There's something for everybody in this game. A lot of the way that I build decks is just off of a tribe. I just built a Renin Siri, which is a dog and cat tribal, because I love, it's adorable and it slaps. It's a really, really good deck. So that's what I think is one aspect to bring new players in. It's just hey, I know you love lizards. You're my friend and you love lizards. Let me help you build a lizard deck that you can play Magic with me. And I think that's a great way to introduce people to the game and bring them in.
For sure. And there's a ton of different silly creature types in the game. I mean, I'm blanking on a lot of them right now, but like fairies and dogs and cats. I mean, that's kind of interesting. Merfolk, vampires, planeswalkers. You can build a deck full of planeswalkers. Yeah. Which we'll show one maybe on screen here if you don't know what a planeswalker is. But also another facet to this is just archetypes, just different ways that you can build a deck off of the mechanics that may be offered to you. There's tons of different, if you think about maybe some of the most popular tokens and go wide strategies, you've got artifacts, mill, life gain, enchantress, aggro, control, just a ton of different ways that you can build your decks. I'm big and stompy. That's probably one of the first ones I was introduced to. You had a dinosaur deck that you taught me with, and that's
very big, very
fun.
stompy. Yeah.
So you can figure out, hey, do I want to sacrifice other creatures to get value? Do I want to have basically a second hand in the graveyard to have some recursion opportunity to get big things out for free? Do I just want to play the biggest creatures that I have in my collection? Yeah. Or do I want to prevent other people from accomplishing their game plan? If that's you, I'm sorry. Maybe do something else.
Yeah, so it's kind of in the same vein as having tribes if you want to play dogs, cats, but also themes. You can theme your deck. I want this to be my evil deck, and I'm gonna kill all my own creatures and other people's creatures to give myself value. So that's another aspect too. It's so customizable. You can really, really express yourself through the way that you build these decks for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I pretty much anything that you can think of, you can probably find cards within Magic that can go along with that idea. And if you can take those to a more casual environment. You can take your more competitive decks to a competitive environment. And so, like, just to wrap things up with that point, like, there is something for everybody.
Absolutely.
It's a very flexible, very wide, very creative space, which makes it really appealing. So,
and that leans into kind of the next point. We're not going to touch on it too hard because we are going to make a specific episode about this.
Yep.
But all the Universes Beyond sets, it is becoming half the sets going forward for this game.
Literally.
It brings in too much money for Hasbro for it not to be. So I get it, but it's also, people feel their own way about it. But you have Universes Beyond sets so far, Transformers, Jurassic Park. You have Final Fantasy is one of the most popular and recent sets. Give me some more.
Secret Lairs, you can throw in Sonic. You may have mentioned Marvel already, but Marvel... Avatar is coming out later this year. What else have we had? Bigger Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
It was a smaller one.
Godzilla, as far as Secret Lairs go as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't see an end in sight for Universes Beyond. I only see them doing more and reaching out to more IPs for Magic to bring in. So like some that have been speculated about are Star Wars. Is one that people have talked about a lot.
We've got Spacecraft now from old Edge of Eternities, and so that was a big indication that maybe we could be moving that way. We kind of have the space theme already in the world of Magic, and so it wouldn't feel like too far of a leap. We also one of the things that I'd be really excited about along the same vein is Halo.
Yep.
I feel like that would be incredible. It's a game I grew up with. I would absolutely go crazy over that set. I think Star Trek was also in the mix and kind of rumored. That's kind of meh for me. I'm not really a Star Trek person.
Yeah.
But there's a major fan base for that. I was watching a video today about Brandon Sanderson meeting with Mark Rosewater, the lead designer for Magic the Gathering, and that being like a hint at like maybe we could get a Cosmere themed set. So there's a major following with that series, that book series. So there's a ton of speculation around what could be coming.
Absolutely.
I feel excited about that.
Yeah, if there's not already a Universes Beyond that you're interested in, there's going to be. I know, what was the controversial take that one of the Hasbro people mentioned? Was it to bring more women in, they were going to do anime or K-pop Demon Hunters or something?
Oh, yeah.
It was something,
Why did Totally Spies come to mind when you said that?
Female anime Totally Spies comes to mind. I don't know. That is funny though. Great show. I'd take a secret layer of that for sure.
Total Drama Island.
Right.
That'd be a good one.
But yeah,
too.
anime I feel like is going to come in. Just your favorite shows, your favorite books, your favorite movies. Like I said, this is bringing in money for Wizards of the Coast and for Hasbro, so I don't see any end in sight, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, and it's expanding the game to fan bases of other IPs that wouldn't necessarily be drawn into the game otherwise.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Well, like we said, we're intending to make a full video on this, so be on the lookout for that.
Absolutely.
But lastly is the social component. This is a game that has opportunity to be very social, especially a game like Commander that's 4 players, or 3 or 2 or 5.
It can really be as many or as little as you want.
There's a wide range of ways you can play that game, but even standard and things like draft and pre-release, all of these different formats and ways you can play involves other people. There's that's that gathering part of Magic the Gathering where you're bringing people in that have this similar interest in playing a strategy, a card game, something that they have been drawn into, and even now with other IPs, you kind of have this like shared interest in something like Final Fantasy or whatever. So that opens the door for that. There's kind of the local community hub of the LGS that is, hey, we're bringing people in, we're introducing them to a broader community of people who are interested in this, and so it's an extremely social realm of a community of players that have started to play this game.
Absolutely. Yeah. If like kind of we mentioned at the top, if you don't have anybody to play with, going to your LGS is a great way to find people to play with and just make new friends. I know every time we've done a pre-release, I get to interact with people I've never met before, and we're playing a game together. That's already a bonding experience.
Right.
So just one aspect, you're getting to meet people. You're getting out of your comfort zone. I always, on our live streams we do, people always ask like, hey, I'm kind of nervous about going up to a pod and interacting with people I don't know. Do you have any recommendations or any suggestions or advice? Yeah, I mean, it's uncomfortable to meet new people, but those people are wanting to play. They're there to play. You're there to play. Yeah, I mean, it's natural, I feel like.
And everybody's kind of in that same boat of, there's that bit of social anxiety, I think, for everyone, and there's varying levels, of course, and we don't want to downplay that fact. It's very real for a lot of people that just makes them extremely nervous, and then they have trouble putting themselves out there, and this, it's kind of that Band-Aid solution of that saying, like, just put yourself out there, just go. But like, I think a lot of us may find comfort, and I deal with this too, just at a small level. And just the idea that everybody has that core desire to find belonging somewhere, and to be seen, to be known. And so I think going into it with that mindset of, hey, I'm not the only one who might feel this way. And, if I just kind of give it a try, you might fail, here and there. You might not find that perfect click with someone. But the more that you give it tries, the more that you have opportunities to find those people that you really click with, that you really enjoy playing with. And so we really encourage, hey, go to your local game store, find communities online that like to talk about this, find people in your area, because they're out there for sure.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've just started to get to the point where the workers at the LGS know me by name. So that's really cool. That's really it's just fun. It's fun to go to a place where people know who you are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would encourage you to go to that LGS. Also though, I mean, this community, so talking about that social component, I would say Magic has not always been mainstream. Magic has not always been highly regarded in this space.
Right. This definitely a recent thing, and it's just becoming more and more of a pop culture deal. Like it's expanding to more people. I think when you think about like who is getting into this game that's kind of in the mainstream already. I mean, you think about Post Malone is probably the most recognizable name that's very outspoken about his interest in the game. I mean, you have him buying the one ring
$2 million card that he bought
off of the guy that found it, and he's been on things like Command Zone game nights and other gameplay shows, and his I mean it's even just as he's on other podcasts, like he talks about this game and it's just like, hey man, it's fun. I'm having a good time with it.
Absolutely. There's, I think, Denzel Curry. I think I've seen some footage of him as well, talking about his love for the game. But you also have a sport. You have athletes, active players in the NFL who are sharing TikToks about their experience with Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, they're blinged out decks and things, and obviously they can afford that a little bit.
Obviously, makes me a little jealous. Makes me wish I would have gone pro just so I could have more money to play Magic with.
Yeah, I bet you could make it.
We're past that point, but that's fine.
Nah, man. I think that those social signals, just encourages people who may have felt like this is something that's a little bit too nerdy, which being like nerd culture is more mainstream than it ever has been.
Absolutely.
I think back when we were in high school and middle school, like I feel like that was something that was kind of taboo. It just was not the thing that you really wanted to be necessarily associated with, or it was looked down upon, I guess. But I think as people grow up, like the more that you realize you have more in common with that person than you think,
right?
And you probably just misunderstood them to begin with. So I mean,
or it's also an aspect of maybe you just wish you could be as passionate.
For sure.
Publicly about things you like as they were.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I look back and I think, man, I wish I would have been into this game in high school. I could have related to those people more.
Right.
And, I could have had a wider reach socially with people in my area, in my school.
Yeah. I remember I had one friend in high school who was very into Magic the Gathering. We had a couple classes together, and in class he would be on, I think, TCG Player at the time, buying cards. And I always used to playfully make fun of him of like, dude, I cannot believe you're spending up to $10 on a single piece of cardboard. That's ridiculous. And look at us now.
Yeah.
Look at us now.
Absolutely. So, I think you kind of extrapolate like an overarching principle from this is just be kind to one another. Like seek to be interested and inquisitive about others, and just try to understand somebody's passions. That'll really help to create connections between you and somebody else, even if it's something that you feel like you can't ever understand. Like getting somebody to talk about their passions, you really start to know that person. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So in closing, I mean, these are some of the main points we think why you should start playing Magic in the year of 2025. It's a fantastic game. There's social components. There are ever-changing rules. It's an evergreen game. You're never going to get bored. There's a way to express yourself. And like, we love to bring people in. So hopefully these points helped you in deciding that this is a game you should give a shot.
Yeah, it's absolutely worth it. Just give it a shot. If you want to go on MTG Arena right now, go ahead and download that game, that platform. It'll help you to figure out, hey, how do I even play this game, for one, and then what are some potential ways that I can. That's a great first step if you're thinking about, what now? I'm hooked. Like, you guys convinced me. Go on MTG Arena, maybe go visit your LGS, open a pack,
right.
Do something like that. It'll be really fun. So yeah, we hope that you enjoyed our first episode of our podcast. We enjoyed talking with you guys about this. If you have other ideas or other reasons why you think people should get into Magic in 2025, go ahead and comment. Leave some comments and start a discussion with us. We'd love to hear from you guys about some reasons, maybe some things you think we missed or needed to talk more about.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear that from you. If you want to see some more of our content, go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube. You can follow us on TikTok as well. We've got a gameplay show. It's called Minor League Magic that we are pumping out new episodes for, hopefully more regularly now. And the other way that you can support us more directly is on Patreon. You can just look us up as MTG Rookies, and you can support us very directly with just a couple bucks a month. That would help us out a lot and just show some love for the channel. So
absolutely.
And then if you want to, here's a link directly to our first gameplay video. We've got another one coming out very soon, and we're excited to bring you guys some more content.
Absolutely. We're going to try to do these podcasts at least once a month, maybe twice a month if we can crank them out that fast. But again, guys, thanks so much for tuning in with us here. We hope you love this game as much as we do, and we will see you in the next one.
See you later.